Hello, I am Dr. Prachi.
And I am Dr. Tamlin Govender. In today's video, we are going to be discussing a very interesting topic, namely Ayurvedic cosmology and the origin of the universe. So, have you ever wondered how our universe was created? Scientists have proposed the Big Bang theory, but Ayurveda has a much deeper philosophical understanding of the origin of the universe. These theorems or shlokas are taken from Sankhya and Vaisheshika darshanas. Darshanas are texts that deal with different causative factors which help one to visualize and analytically understand the principles of creation. Sankhya Darshan states that to understand life, we need to understand the universe's origin from a physical perspective. Ayurveda has expressed the importance of this topic as it plays a major role in understanding the cause of one's birth, the role we all have to play in our lives, and our destiny after death. It also expresses that we are all inherently a part of nature and the cosmos, and learning about it will help us protect and nurture our surroundings and health. The duration of the existence of the cosmos is infinite. It is an endless cycle of creation and then no creation. These states continuously exist side by side. They are ultimately eternal. However, when in the state of no creation, the creative energies and forces remain subtle and inactive. But in the creative state, they manifest into what we see as the universe today. The great teachers of Ayurveda support this theory and have explained it in great detail.
Acharya Sushruta and Acharya Charaka are two famous physicians in Ayurveda. They discussed at length in their respective texts the causative factors or tattvas for the creation of cosmos. Acharya Sushruta discussed his theories which are taken from Sankhya Darshana, where 25 causative factors were mentioned. This is known as Chaturvimshattattva. Now let us look at these tattvas one by one. The first tattva is avyakta. This is the unmanifested pure form of existence of nature. This was a state of complete nothingness. The Big Bang theory also states that before the universe was created, it started from an extremely dense and infinite single point. This particle then exploded, which is often referred to as the famous bang. And from this tiny singularity, matter, energy, and time were created. Initially, after this, matter and energy can be practically seen as one entity. For the process of creation to begin, two important components are needed which manifested from Avyakta. These are Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha is the cosmic male energy. It is pure consciousness. It acts as a passive witness in the creative process. It is non-material entity. It is formless and colorless. It remains active if not combined with Prakriti. Prakriti is the cosmic female energy that plays the main role in creation. It is the cause for creation. It is essentially an energy source that can differentiate itself. It has form and color. Its inherent construct is to operate in the field of action. Prakriti possesses all the knowledge of the universe and it has three gunas, which are sattva, rajas, and tamas. These three gunas lie dormant in Prakriti. Prakriti remains inactive if not combined with Purusha. Once Prakriti and Purusha are united, they give rise to the next step in the process of creation. Well, this concept is very similar to the concept of matter and antimatter mentioned in the Big Bang theory. When the universe was created, every matter particle had an equivalent antimatter particle. So they nullified each other. The antimatter particle is similar to the concept of Purusha. It has to be present for the creation to manifest, as it is also an inactive part of the process. The matter is similar to the concept of Prakriti. It is pluralistic and active principle in the manifestation of the universe.
The second factor is known as Mahat, or cosmic intelligence. This is supreme universal intelligence and the first ever primordial matter formed from the combination of Prakriti and Purusha. It does not possess consciousness, but rather cognition and intuition. Mahat still carries the three gunas in its dormant state, and when it attains ego, it moves to the next stage. This is a complex aspect of the creation of the universe. In this concept, modern science has a superficial view, basing the presenting evidence only on visual acuity. However, Ayurveda understands this part of the process in a different manner, as Mahat is viewed as a phenomenon. This intelligence manifested particles that were very unstable and exchanging the state of matter when eventually energy stopped. They then began to maintain their structure, and here this intelligence brought together many quantum particles into protons, neutrons, and electrons, and so the creation of the universe was set in motion. We can also understand this form of cosmic intelligence in an experiment known as the double slit experiment, where scientists demonstrated that light and matter can display characteristics of both classically defined waves and particles. But the most interesting part of this experiment was unparalleled strangeness, that little particles of matter have something of a wave about them, and suggests that the very act of observing a particle has a dramatic effect on its behavior. This experiment supports the theory that Ayurveda has propounded, that these particles inherently have an intelligence within them. This is also known as what modern scientists refer to as a quantum mechanical phenomena.
Now, let us look at the third tattva, which is ahankara, the ego or the self. This is when a sense of I or self is created. It is at this level that separation and differentiation play a role. A sense of I or the self becomes the object, and the rest of the world becomes the object of perception. It is the first step in the creative process where there is sense of individualism, which creates a life force known as prana that is responsible for initiating all the manifestations in the process of creation. It is due to the presence of prana the trigunas become active and combine with ahankara to form the next step in the process of creation. The understanding of ahankara and its relation to the modern science can be broken down as follows. Atoms do not disintegrate in this state of creation, but rather they maintain a sense of self identity, and that is how they can maintain their structure. Before, in the initial state of creation, the quantum particles merged to form protons, etc. They were essentially just the energy. Intelligence in these particles is responsible for laying a path for the formation of particular structure, while the ahankara is responsible for the maintenance of the structure. Because of the ahankara present in the atoms, they can maintain a particular structure. Let us understand with another example. The skin is the largest organ of the human body, and yet, during 24 hours, a person loses almost 5,000 million skin cells. The new cells which are formed are exact replicas of the previous cells. They essentially possess an intelligence at the cellular level. The individualism within each cell maintains its innate structure. Now, let us look at the three gunas, the sattva, rajas, and tamas. Sattva is the principle of buoyancy and illumination. Rajas is the principle of dynamism and mobility. Tamas is the principle of inertia. So, the manifestation of organic and inorganic universe, Rajas plays a major role between Sattva and Tamas. It is the dynamic force of energy. It is due to the movement of these three energies that the universe has manifested. The principle of Triguna can be correlated with the scientific evidence known as nature's fundamental forces. These forces control everything in the universe, every movement, process, and phenomena we can think of. These are known as strong and weak nuclear force, electromagnetic force, and gravitational force. The nuclear force correlates with the sattva as sattva is balancing. Nuclear force acts both ways. It holds the photon and neutrons together and also causes fusion of the nucleus. Electromagnetic force can be correlated with Rajas as it is responsible for movement of positive and negatively charged particles in the universe. Gravitational force is similar to tamas because tamas gives mass to any object, and because of mass object remain bound together. It is the external resistance or force exerted from the space to keep the object in place. So, these forces are creating what we refer to in Ayurveda as trigunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, in the form of quantum particles which are essentially responsible for the formation of the universe.
For clarity, let us break it down as follows. Stars are the fundamental building blocks of galaxies. They are massive, self luminous celestial bodies of gas that shine due to the radiation derived from the internal energy sources. In a star, hydrogen atoms fuse to form helium atoms. Thus, they are essentially giant balls of nuclear fusion. Stars emit an incredible amount of energy that makes them appear to be burning, and both the strong and weak nuclear forces are responsible for the burning of a star. Therefore, it can be correlated to the principles of illumination and light energy present in the universe. Electromagnetic forces are in control of the movement of particles. Particles having similar charges repel each other, while particles having opposite charges attract one another. This can be correlated to the principle of dynamism. And tamas, which is the principle of inertia, can be understood as the gravitational force, since it is what is responsible for gravity and keeping us bound to the earth. Similarly, if we have to compare Triguna and the atomic theory, the following is scientifically true. According to Triguna theory, sattva is the quality that imparts positivity, balance, homeostasis, luminosity, purity, and peace. And according to atomic theory, protons are positively charged particles located in the nucleus. They are responsible for holding the atom together by binding the electrons to the atom and holding the neutrons together in the nucleus. When it comes to rajas, it imparts the quality of activity, movement, dynamism, and passion. And according to atomic theory, electrons are negatively charged particles that revolve around the nucleus. They have a tendency of moving out of a bond to form new bonds with protons of other atoms. And when it comes to tamas, which represents the quality of inertia, lethargy, inactivity, and ignorance, and atomic theory relates to the neutrons, which are particles with no charge. They remain inert in the nucleus and impart significant mass to the atom. To elaborate on this theory, we can say that at the atomic level, the quality of a proton which binds the atoms together and creates a balance in the atom can be correlated to the sattva guna, while the quality of the electron, which is constantly moving around, can be correlated to the rajas guna, and the quality of the neutron to remain inert and stationary in the atom imparts a significant part of the mass, so it can be correlated to tamas guna. Thus, atoms are the building blocks of everything we know in the universe. These are not merely perceived at the physical level. Every living and non-living object possesses these three qualities. It is also reflected at the physiological level through behavior in humans and animals. For example, a person who is naturally calmer, kind, determined has sattvic qualities, while people who are intolerant, quick to anger, and lustful possess rajasic qualities. And lastly, people who possess tamasic qualities are naturally sluggish, lethargic, and lazy. These three gunas are identified by Ayurveda and are used in diagnosis and treatment.
The action of rajas upon sattva gives rise to the perception of senses or organic universe, which creates 11 indriyas or senses. The five jnanendriyas or sense organs are chakshu meaning eyes, shrotra meaning ears, twak meaning skin, grahana meaning nose, jihva meaning tongue. Five karmendriyas or organs of action are payu meaning anus, hasta meaning hands, pada meaning feet, vak meaning mouth, and upastha meaning genitals. Manas or the mind is responsible for receiving the sense of pleasure and pain that is experienced from all the above 10 indriyas. These concepts have no comparison to anything mentioned in modern science since they cannot be perceived with eyes or viewed microscopically. Sankhya Darshana and Ayurvedic texts have mentioned these stages because unless the object to perceive something is not formed, we are not able to perceive it. For example, if we did not have eyes, we wouldn't be able to have the perception of sight. This understanding applies to the other senses also. The action of Rajas upon Tamas gives rise to the inorganic universe, where the senses are created. These senses are known as Panchatanmatra. They are the subtle forms of the five elements, which are Shabda Tanmatra related to hearing, Sparsha Tanmatra related to touch, Rupa Tanmatra related to vision, Rasa Tanmatra related to taste, and Gandha Tanmatra related to smell. It also gives rise to the Panchamahabhutas or the five elements. This is a transformative process whereby each Mahabhuta is produced from the former and is denser than its predecessor. Akasha, the ether or emptiness, Vayu is air, wind, or the movement. Agni is fire or energy forms of the heat. Apa is water or liquids. Prithvi is earth. It is the solid, dense, heavy, and hard material. The manifestation of Panchamahabhutas has strikingly similar to how the elements of the universe manifested. Initially, there was only space, then energy evolved, and the first atom was formed, which is hydrogen. In this phase, the universe had large hydrogen clouds, which was referred to as dark ages by the scientists, as there was no light present. These clouds of gas are representative of Vayu Mahabhuta. Hydrogen clouds began manifesting stars and galaxies, and the light manifested. This is Teja Mahabhuta. After stars were formed, planets manifested. In the universe, this represents the manifestation of Jala and Prithvi Mahabhuta. Thus, from the cells in our body to the clouds in our atmosphere, a cell is the part of body and the body is part of the universe. We are essentially the universe experiencing the universe. The Panchamahabhutas and the Tridoshas will be discussed in more detail in our upcoming videos. Thanks for watching our video and we will see you in the next one.